Shrinkage of receptive field. To understand how attention may work at the circuit level, we need to look at studies involving single neurons again. Much of this work on attention has been done in awake monkeys. One of the most important findings on this topic is that attention can reduce the size of the relevant neuron's receptive fields. Remember that receptive fields refer to the retinal region that a neuron cares about. That is, a stimulus is most likely to be able to increase the firing of a neuron when it enters this region. Small receptive fields mean low spatial invariance. It matters more to neurons with small receptive fields where things exactly are. In a sense, making a receptive field smaller is a bit like improving your spatial resolution. Very good thing to do when you need to pay attention. And this may be a general mechanism accounting for many aspects of attention, including why it influences processing all the way down to V1, as we learned in the last section. What was the experiment like when they discovered that attention can reduce receptive field size? We can train monkeys to attend to different stimuli. Obviously, we cannot just tell them where to attend to, but we can train them to fixate at a point. And when we make certain stimuli relevant to them, for example, when a stimulus disappears, if the monkey can pull a lever quickly in response, a reward such as fruit juice or a food pellet may be given. Over time, we may observe that the monkey has gotten better at detecting changes to this relevant stimulus, ignoring what happens to other stimulus. This would presumably mean that we have succeeded in training the monkey in directing their attention to the stimulus we want. This way of controlling for one's attention is sometimes called covert attention, as in one is not moving the eyes but only the mind's eye towards the stimulus. The trick is to make the stimulus task relevant, so the animal will have to pay more attention to it over a task irrelevant stimulus. Turns out, not only can we train monkeys to shift their covert attention towards a stimulus, but monkeys can be trained to shift their attention to different stimulus on different trials within the same session too. Let's say we present a cue, for example, making the fixation point turn yellow. This may mean on this trial a vertical line is what the animal needs to attend to. On another trial, fixation point may turn blue, meaning that the animal may need to attend to something elsewhere. Monkeys can learn to do something like that too. This is the result from a single neuron recorded from V2 while the animal was doing tasks like these. The experimenter first mapped out where the receptive field is. This could be done by moving the stimulus around until we found the region that the neuron cares about. Then we can present the cue to instruct the animal to attend elsewhere while maintaining fixation. Maintaining fixation is quite important because otherwise the receptive field location would change too, relative to where we want to put things on the computer screen. So here, ref refers to the reference stimulus, a vertical line which happens to be what this neuron likes. In other words, this neuron is tuned to orientation of lines and has a preference for vertical orientation. Probe refers to a different stimulus, like a horizontal line. Under the conditions where the monkey was attending elsewhere, meaning not attending to the stimuli within the receptive field, the data are reported as at away. As you can see, this neuron liked the reference stimulus. It fired a lot, up to almost 200 Hz at peak, when the reference was presented and the monkey was attending away. This neuron also didn't like the probe, or the horizontal bar. The firing was much lower. What happens when you put both stimuli within the receptive field? Interestingly, the firing is kind of in the middle. See the pair at away condition. Now these are all results from at away. What is critical is when the monkey attended to one of the stimuli, ref, while both stimuli are in the receptive field, that is pair at ref. Here, the neuron is fired as if the horizontal bar was gone. It fired at a high level, as if only the attended stimulus, the vertical bar, was presented. Here is just another example, again, a V2 neuron. This time, it is a neuron that preferred horizontal bars. This time, the preferred stimulus is called the probe here, opposite to the last example. This is because the monkey was going to attend to the ref, a tilted line, which the neuron didn't like. So again, as you see, when both stimuli were put inside the receptive field, once again the neuron fired at an intermediate level, as if it was taking an average between the two stimuli. And then most critically, when the monkey attended to the ref, meaning the disliked tilted bar, the neuron fired as though the unattended probe was gone again. One thing you may notice is, at time 0 when the stimulus was just presented, there was already some firing. This is also true of the neurons I showed you previously. This is because neurons are rarely completely silent at rest. There is usually a lot of spontaneous activity. Sometimes we call this baseline level activity. So this is the basis of the phenomenon of attention reducing receptive field size. The above two examples are from V2, but you can see this in various visual areas too, for example in V4. To be precise, the receptive field is not a physical object that shrinks in size. Remember, the receptive field is just a concept we experimenters use to describe the retinal region that a neuron cares about. When you have a multiple stimuli inside the receptive field and you attend to one stimulus, it is as if the receptive shrinks to just that stimulus. The impact of the other unattended stimuli seem to be dampened or abolished completely in some cases.